And let's move on to the second keynote session on right data versus big data and the analytics course correction insight. We have expert panel members. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dhafer Alshehri, Data Architecture Director, SDC, Saudi Arabia. Welcome. He has been a part of the IT industry for 24 years, leading comprehensive data landscape assessment, including data structure, data management technologies, and data pipeline architectures. Currently, he is also leading the metadata initiatives to form a comprehensive view about the corporate data. Next in line, we have Mohammed Muzamil Sadiq, Head of Digital Analytics, BI, and Automation from Rajhi Takaful. Mohammed Muzamil Sadiq started his career in digital as a web developer in 2008. He has a very strong mix of academics and professional experience at world-renowned organizations and institutions. Well, so let's welcome again on the panel Badr Al-Jundi, Director, Business Intelligence and Data Management from I'mar, the economic city. He is a highly accomplished professional, experienced in business intelligence and analytics digital transformation, with a proven ability to quickly grasp and apply new technologies and best practices. He also has a proven track record in a successful and smooth implementation of projects and initiatives. Ladies and gentlemen, please put our hands together for our moderator of the session, Rashed AlOthman. Digital Applications and Infrastructure Transformation Strategist Consultant. Mr. Rashed holds a bachelor and master's degree in Science of Computer Science from Arkansas State University. He is an entrepreneurial visionary with a thorough understanding of the application of information technology and concepts to business and fintech development. Over to you, Mr. Rashed.
Thank you. Good afternoon, all, and good afternoon, gentlemen. Let's start. Thank you for the introduction, and we'll start with, let's say, a simple question. Will require probably an intense answer. What are the advantages of following the data-driven approach versus intuition? And let's start with you, Badr.
First of all, I think having data-driven organization will lead to achieving more and better results. Why? Because you are doing the decisions based on facts, not based on assumptions, based on intuition. So usually the history repeats itself. So whatever made you successful before will make you successful again. Whatever caused the failure for you before will cause the failure again. So data helps big time into achieving that. Especially that we're talking about organizational data, not individual data. So there is a turnover of employees, management level, C-level, who will not depend on their experience only, rather than having the data, the organizational data in place that will help them make better decisions. And of course, when it comes to analytics, big data, it will help achieving that by offering the data instantly to allow the decision makers to make the decisions fast enough and improve the business performance accordingly.
Dhafer, would you like to add anything?
Adding to what our colleagues have mentioned, we are now in having volatile environments. There is lots of competition from inside environment, from even globally. If you live with intuition, you will maybe die within few weeks. So better understanding of your customer, better understanding of your market, of understanding your stakeholder, even understanding the environment and needs, and customize your behavior based on their data, even understanding your competitors and reaction on the market. So it is not an option now, it is becoming mandatory for every organization to be data-driven organization.
How about you, Mohammed?
Click this.
Yeah, can you hear me now? Okay. Yeah, I think, Assalamu alaikum, and I agree with both the panel members. And after working in the areas of digital and data, we have seen a lot of customers' behavior have changed because of the new devices and because of the kind of technologies that are available to the end user. And because of this demand, the organizations are now more prone to think about data, about data privacy or data governance, or all those things that are related directly to the customers. And after been working in the region, Alhamdulillah, I think I have seen now Saudi Arabia is in a very right position to actually implement the latest technologies that are available globally, to drive AI to better outcome from all the technologies that are available. So in conclusion, I definitely agree that data is the next investment, the next milestone that is going to change a lot of actions, behavior, the products and services that are going to the end users as consumers.
Okay, now there is a question which is probably would require a clarification. Now, looking at data analysis and data utilization, data collection, gathering, monetization, is there any difference between the government and non-government, where we say private sector of, following that kind of field? Could anybody move from one sector to another and be effective? And let's start with you, Dhafer, in this.
I think in private sector, which back to what I have mentioned, the competitive advantages of the market. So there is lots of pressure on data analytics management team to be on time, at the right data, with meeting what's business demanding for. So even from another angle of the right investment, so any investment in the data should be questioned by organization. What's the return of value and the return of investment about this investment in the data and big data? And the question about even any investment or linked to be the business needs.
How about you, Mohammed? What do you think?
Yes, I think as Dhafer has rightly put in, it varies across the sectors. As your question points out, how different it is versus the government or the private sector. I can clearly see the government sector, the focus is not completely on profiteering from the data or monetizing the data. It's more to do with how to protect the identity, the customer sensitivity, and different aspects of the customer privacy. But when it comes to private sector, there is a little bit of interest in monetizing the customer behavior. For example, one such example I can think of is the CDP programs, where they are kind of building customer data platforms it not only allows companies or organizations to better leverage intelligence in communicating to the end user or the customers of better offers, but also come up with more hyper personalization. For example, being from the insurance sector, we have seen few of the campaigns or projects where we have been able to better communicate to our customers through the data in understanding how the customer behavior is in terms of his insurance policy. For example, when customer gets an approval of a medical insurance going into the hospital, here we have a clear chance about how to personally send a message of a recovery message, or conveying to the customers that we care about the customer. So this is one such example.
Okay, how about you, Badr? What do you think?
Well, it's different for sure, and I think when it comes to organizations, major organizations will look for profits after all, which is the value they are taking out of their operations, and they try and tend to add value back to the consumer or to the other corporate if they are B2B, etc. However, government is a bigger purpose. So it adds value to the individuals to improve the quality of living, improve the way each individual living in the country is living, as well as doing more when it comes to the ministries we have, when it comes to the health, the working environment, the sustainability of the country. So there are bigger purpose of just profit. Therefore, the government will have definitely more access to more data sets, and accordingly they can get more value out of it and plan accordingly. However, when it comes to corporate, it's limited to that corporate vision, mission, operations to develop better product, market, and create the need of those products in the consumer. But when it comes to a government, no, the need is there. They touch base on the challenges each citizen is really facing day in, day out. Therefore, the value of the data will become much, much bigger. And it goes with the challenges, of course, the government will have in accessing and preparing this data.
This brings us to another question from this. A data scientist working for a government, would he work for a private or vice versa, or does it require a set or special training to make sure that they are fit for each area?
Definitely, data scientists will have a set of algorithms and set of academic background with statistical background that will help in understanding how to get value out of the data sets they are working on. So depending on the experience they have, plus the data sets they are having, plus the use cases and the problems they are addressing, they will be able to really get value out of these data and recommend certain actions to be taken to the decision makers or specific reports or analysis, regardless whether it's a government or a private sector. But definitely the experience makes big difference when it comes to the government. If they want really to have a specific report or analysis over a specific area, they'll bring somebody who worked on it before, maybe from other countries as well. So experience is relevant and matters when it comes to data science and analysis.
Okay, Dhafer, you were, a while ago you mentioned the right data. So looking at the right data versus data lakes, what is your input in that?
Of course, every organization would like to have the right data at the right time, at the right place. So for the big data, it is a place where you keep all historical data. There is a risk called data swarm. Dumping your data there you will find yourself at no benefit from this data. You cannot access the data, no reference for all of this data. So it is essential to have the right data at the right place, at the right volume, linked to the business KPIs, priorities, needs. So to avoid all of this, you have to have at least 3 factors. For example, metadata, dictionary or metadata about what is in there in this data, linked every data to the data ownership from business perspective, linked all data stored in the big data and the use cases required for it. Finally, you have to have a retention policy and verify this retention with the owner of this data, because over time it will be kept there for a long time with no use.
What do you think, Badr?
Well, I think it's big data, right data, or even small data. And I refer to the book Small Data by Martin Lindstrom, which is a great book about customer experience, where devil in details. Actually, we need small data to improve the experience of our customers. And when it comes to big data in general, you are having a lot of data that are now coming from social media, from other IoT devices, from unstructured data sources. This is where the big data concept came from. However, as our colleagues previously mentioned, only 23% of the big data and the insights we are getting is really being used and supporting the decision making. So whether we have the right data and the small data that is linked to a specific business process or linked to a specific KPI that will help me achieve better results than having big data that I am not able really to comprehend or reflect on my day-to-day operations. No, of course, we go to the right data, we build the right setup, the right data governance process, as we said before, and we understand how we can get the value out of this data, then we scale it up until we get the maximum out of the big data that we have within the organization.
Okay, now, that leads us to a very interesting subject, which is AI and ML, which is the artificial intelligence and machine learning, and the utilization of analyzing and collecting the data and what have you. So, Mohammed, what do you think in that?
Yes, I think, following to the conversation about big data and then how big data is evolving itself into becoming an powerhouse of an AI or ML, eventually what I see is, we will be in a point where the organizations will become more smarter. The burden of, thinking on the consumer side will reduce, and then the services offered to the end user and consumers will become more intelligent and smart. How are we going to achieve this is, basically I just wanted to mention this. In the field of data and the science of data, we have a saying where, if you torture data enough, the data is going to tell you the truth. So we are going to see that. We have so many experts around in AI. They're going to torture the data, and you'll have smart and intelligent solutions, inshallah.
Badr, the question to you, same question, but I need to add something on top of that, which is how mature is the AI and ML in data today, analysis, collection, and all this kind of stuff, and utilization?
I think it depends on the region we're talking about. If you look at the States, Europe, and the advanced countries in terms of usage of the data, they are really ahead. Why? Because I think they invested earlier in IT and technology, and they have more mature data sets than we do in here. Here, you'll find some leading companies like the telco, banking sectors, where they are really getting the maximum out of AI and ML. However, when it comes to the other business industries, you really find them behind, and a lot of technology partners will go and approach these companies to sell their AI and ML solutions, but there is an issue in the data quality. They don't have proper traditional data warehouse in place, and accordingly, they cannot really have the culture, the data-driven culture that will help them build the AI and ML solutions on. It has to go through the journey of really increasing the maturity of BI and analytics within a specific organization until it really understands how it can utilize the AI and ML capabilities to deliver better products, understand more about their customers, and accordingly add more value to it.
Would you like to add something, Dhafer, to this?
In AI in this region, alhamdulillah, there is more advancement and more investment in this domain. However, it's facing difficulties because there is a prerequisite to have AI, to have the right data at the right quality. Because if you build on unquality data, you will maybe drive to the wrong decision. So most of the use cases I am seeing now invested in this region about the filtering, sometimes better recognition about, for example, fraud, cybersecurity. I have seen picture image recognition applied in some known use cases to filter huge traffics coming from the image, reduce the overload of the processes. These use cases, I have seen maturity of it. There is other domain of AI, still sometimes the reinforcement, the real-time learning, still at the beginning. But there is a huge focus on this area.
Okay, now where are we heading? Small question requires a big answer.
I think it's very obvious the awareness of the AI, ML, big data is really increasing day in, day out. So most of the organizations are either already invested in these technologies and started to get the benefit, or they started to facing the challenges in the implementations of such advanced technologies, or they are really aware that there is something they are lacking. So this awareness or lack of having these technologies in these organizations will trigger definitely higher demand. That's why there will be acceleration in the adoption and utilization. And the more we have use cases across the business industries, the more the other companies will benefit as well. I mentioned telco and banking, they are advanced, they are ahead because they can really interact with consumers directly, insurance companies, etc. But when it comes to B2B, for example, organizations, it is somehow limited usage and limited adoption of AI and machine learning capabilities, because if you want to apply it, you need to go to manufacturing facility, utilize the IoT data, for example, green architecture, agriculture, sorry, the smart agriculture concept, the IoT in general is really invading all the B2B industries as well. So where are we heading? I think there is a bright future. I see it that is, it's penetrating the analytics domain, transforming organization from traditional BI and analytics driven into really AI, ML, and big data driven organizations.
For the audience, a piece of advice that comes from each one of you, just kind of, for them to take care of or to utilize as, this journey is still at the beginning stage. So start with you, Mohammed.
Yes, so one thing I want to kind of mention here is what I have seen through around data, around building models or working with advanced systems. I understand, these systems and models, we need to treat them as lions. We have to tame them, train them of what we want. If we are not in a position to understand this, there are risks and consequences. Okay, so I just wanted to tell one small example. Imagine you are a customer, okay, and you are in 2030 and the systems are very advanced and you are going to order a pizza. You call, or even before you call, your phone detects that you're hungry. Okay, and then it connects you to the nearest pizza, and then that pizza owner calls you. The pizza owner tells you that you cannot order a over cheese pizza because last month you had a high cholesterol. Okay, this is the kind of society that we are going to build. So we need to take care of where we want to keep the intelligence and how you want to tame the lion.
Okay, how about you, Dhafer?
I have been in this industry for a long time. My advice to you, please be careful about your investment. Be careful about link everything to business. I think it's supposed to be to have corporate data strategy. What's the corporate focus? What's their priority? So, rational your investment. There is appealing coming from our vendors here outside, from the media, from the conferences. But every organization, they have their own story. They have their own priority. They have their own pain. So be careful about your investment. Be careful about your focus. Even after you build this corporate data strategy, analyze where, from architecture viewpoint, from investment viewpoint, link every use case to the right architecture, to the right investment, to the right technologies. For example, if you linked, for example, real-time use cases to the batch, this will not work, and this will not satisfy your demand, and vice versa. For example, if you invest huge, because if you scale from batch to real-time, it will be more cost and more complicated. While for example, the use case need batch mode, so you are investing in the wrong direction. So even in the batch mode, for example, there is a variety of investment. There is big data, there is an HDFS, there is Hadoop, Vice, there is very advanced MPP like data warehouse, much expensive. So be careful, link the use case at the right platform, at the right destination. So even AI, think carefully about which use case is feasible for you. Do you have the right data? Do you have the right environment? Do you have the right skills? This is the questions need to be asked again and again.
Better, let's conclude with you.
I think I wouldn't add much on Brother Dhafer's point, which is be careful about your investment. I think, yes, there is a pressure from a lot of technologies arising nowadays, but remember to make sure that whatever investment you are about to do is gonna add value to your organization. This can happen through a POC, through a small iteration on a specific use case, get the maximum out of it, then plan how you are going to scale that up. Scalability, remember the scalability pyramid, it's about people, process, and technology. Technology alone will never make it to a full-fledged implementation. You have to have the right processes in place, the right people, and the right technology in order to scale it and get the maximum out of it.
Thank you, and thank you, extending thanks to the audience and to the participants. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you all.